All right, so now we're moving on to the next part in our red packet, and we're moving on to chapters 1 and 2, which is primarily about solving equations, so isolating the variable. So if we open up the page to this here, this is just a quick review of what we just basically took a quiz on and what pre-algebra is all about. So we already learned this. I'm just going to kind of read through it and then move on. So the properties of real numbers, we already know the commutative property, the order changes. So like for example, 5x plus 4 equals 4 plus 5x. They actually change the order of the numbers. It works for addition and it works for multiplication. You can see this is 3 times 8 times 5x, and then the 5x is going to flip and move all the way in the front of the 3, and it's still okay. 5x times 3 times 8. You can change the order of numbers with multiplication or addition and still get the same exact result. The associative property, you're basically changing the grouping. So you're rearranging the groups of numbers that are put together in parentheses. 4x plus 2x plus 7x equals 4x plus 2x plus 7x. The numbers are in the same exact order, but the grouping changes. In the first one, 4x and 2x are grouped together, so you would add 4x plus 2x first and get 6x, and then add 6x plus 7x to get 13x. But in the second one, the 2x and the 7x are grouped together first, so you would add 2x plus 7x and get 9x, and 4x plus 9x is still 13x. It works for addition and multiplication. The identity properties for addition, basically if you're looking for the identity property, you're thinking about 0, since adding 0 to anything keeps it identically the same. For multiplication, you're looking for a number you multiply by that keeps it exactly the same, and that is 1. Reciprocals. So the reciprocal of a number, a, is 1 over a. So you basically flip the number upside down and it becomes its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. For every whole number, there's an invisible 1 underneath. So if you have a whole number like 4, there is an invisible 1 here. So that's when you flip it upside down, that's where the 1 comes from. But if we have another example like 2/3, the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3 over 2 because you just flip it upside down. That's what a reciprocal does. The addition property of equality. So the addition property of equality basically says if you have something like x minus 2 equals 10, you can take this and you can add the same number to both sides and keep the equation equal. So like x minus 2 equals 10, if you add 2 to both sides, you're still going to be able to do that because you added the 2 to both sides. You can't just take an equation and only add it to one side. It has to be both. It works for subtraction as well. You can do the same thing with subtraction. You can subtract both sides by the same number and still get the same answer. And it works for multiplication too. So you can take the equation and you can multiply both sides by the same number and get the same exact answer. The distributive property is the next property that we learned, and we are basically distributing the number on the outside of the parentheses to simplify. If we have here like a rectangle and I said come up with the simplified expression for the area of the rectangle, we could see that this side is 3 and this side is the quantity, x plus 2. And whenever we have a quantity, we have to put parentheses around that because it's an entire thing linked together. So the area would be 3 times x plus 2, but I would distribute and the final answer would be 3x plus 6 using the distributive property, which I know I'm going a little fast, but we already went over this like before with our quiz we just took previously. All right, the next one, we can see here that it's showing a little different process of how to find the area, but it's the same exact rectangle. So it's showing you the way the distributive property works in that if we were to find the area of this part of the rectangle, one of the sides is 3 and one of the sides is x, so we would multiply 3x together to get that part. And then for the second part of the rectangle, we have here one of the sides is 3 and one of the sides is 2. So to get the area of this part, we would multiply 3 times 2 and get 6. And then we would add these together to get the final answer. So it's just showing you another way of how the distributive property works. So we already basically know how to do these from previous knowledge, from our previous quiz and from our previous review of pre-algebra. So I'm just going to do 2 with you, and then I'm going to have you guys finish the rest. 4 times y is 4y, plus 4 times 3 is 12. This would be 4y plus 12. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 9 is 54. So 6x plus 54 will be the final answer for this one. All right, there's 2 more on this page, so I want you guys to complete 3 and 4 on this page, and if you flip over to the other side, there's 4 more on the back. So go ahead and complete a total of 6 practice problems, and then we will go over them as a group.